Hey, it's Matt from The Random Maker, and you're here today to see how to make this awesome, inexpensive moving workbench. But a couple things you're going to need. You're going to need 4 posts. I use some 3x3 cedar. You're going to need quite a few a couple 2x4s depending on how big you want to make it, because you need to have a ring on the top, ring on the bottom underneath there, and then you want a couple cross braces in between. Depending on the size, you might want quite a few. This one, it's only 4 feet, so I just put one in the middle, and yeah. And then you're gonna want some kind of tabletop. I'm using melamine here, just because I had it. And then, yeah, the casters, bunch of screws. That's about it. This is a really simple project, but a good workbench is one of the most important things. So let's get moving.
Okay, the very first step here is just you want to lay out all your measurements. And you know, plywood lately is ridiculously expensive, so you know, make sure you actually do it twice. Next, you're going to take a saw. Now, I'm just using a piece of metal to guide my skill saw, and I'm just cutting right there. And because this is underneath, I'm not too concerned about it chipping. Now, what I'm doing next here is taking all the old pieces from my previous table, and I'm just cutting up and saving as much wood as I humanly can, because the whole point of this is the old design was good, it was just way too big for what I was using it for. So, yeah, now, if you're looking here, what I'm doing is I'm just laying out all the pieces of wood and kind of seeing how I'm going to do it and see how everything fits together and make sure it works. That's a good thing. Always check. Now, what I'm going to do is put in a pattern, because I am going to countersink all my screws, and also I'm going to pre-drill the holes because there's just a better chance of having no breakout, no chipping or anything like that. This table, while it's a work table, it doesn't have to be pretty. It's still nice to have everything nice and uniform. That way your eye isn't caught on it as you're walking by it, because I don't know about you, but that always drives me nuts anytime doing a project. Next here, you can see me just countersinking and pre-drilling all the holes. I'm not going to do that in cedar because, yeah. Okay, now what you've got me doing here is you have me using a speed square just to make sure everything is nice and square. As you can see here, I was thinking, I don't know why I was thinking too much. It's not that hard, but probably I was thinking, should I grab something to clamp this down? Not the worst idea of all time, but you know, for me, this was not supposed to be a long build. Turned into longer than I thought, but 'tis the way of the world. And always double check everything's square before you walk away. And as you can see there, I put one in, and until you have 2 screws in a horizontal direction, nothing is going to be locked into place. And so yeah, there we go. And yeah, simple as that. Okay, so this is just me being a little more closer up, and on the top tabletop, we are actually going to be sticking it out 3/4 of an inch because the melamine's going to sit flush with it. I did take a piece of melamine because I find it easier. I could measure it out, but as we can see here, that way there's no guesswork. I just drew an X, and then I just took a measurement on each side and drew a line, and there you go. And you can just take the pre-drill, countersink, and boom, always support your wood, and there you go. Our 5 holes in place so that everything works out nice and pretty. And here's me again using my speed square, just trying to keep everything nice and pretty. You could use a floor if you know your floor is level and all that. It would have been too hard to film and do it on here, so I actually would have preferred to put this on a floor and build it, but just for filming's sake, it's a lot easier in the air. And as we can see here, we get our nice little close-ups. So, and after I'm done that, I'm going to check it and make sure everything's nice and pretty. Okay, what you've got here is a little bit of a trick. Instead of me having to lay it out each time, you can actually see I'm just going to transfer the measurements over from my previous drills, and it just makes it a lot quicker. That's about it on this, so yeah. Okay, as you can see, this is me actually taking the 2 pieces I made on the table, because I just screwed them all together on the table. It made it easier. You can see Wally hanging out with me, and of course, anytime you actually try and get work done, that is the moment he wants to go outside or he wants to play. So, oh, Wally, you're just gonna have to wait until I'm done this one piece right here, Bubba. And then you can see what I'm doing here is I just put it on the side now that everything's solid and put the braces up.
Okay, so this time it's a little different. I could honestly get away with just having these here. I don't really like it just because all the weight goes on those two. So I am gonna reuse these blocks I was using on the last design just because it was a lot easier for me to, I don't know, just it feels more structurally sound to me. So what I'm gonna do is very simply, I'm going to, as we can see the old pattern right here, I'm just gonna put some screws in here and then I'll bolt this right here. And the reason I like this is all three pieces, all the weights on all three. And so, yeah, I prefer this. Maybe not necessarily the absolute perfect system, but I like it. So that's all that matters. So let's do this. And there we go. So I'm just gonna do this one more times and make sure, like on the front end over there, it's gonna be the solid state wheels. On the back here is gonna be my swivels, and always make sure when you have the swivels that you can see this brake that I have full, it's easy access. And so, yeah, it'd be cool to be more in the middle. There's actually more meat over here, like the poles right here, but I want access to this from both sides, and yeah. It worked really well last time. Like I said, I didn't hate the last design. It just was too big for my shop.
All right, so this is just me speed running through the other corners because we have to make sure that we actually have wheels. Next, I just flipped it over. I always find it easier to build stuff in the air. And we can see here, I am just putting up the top braces, and yeah, this is really simple. I always just put a couple little screw in, like kind of pre-drilled, just, it's easier I found. And especially because I'm actually going to use a C-clamp up ahead here, and I am going to C-clamp it in place because one of the things is in the air doesn't always work the best. As we can see here, right here, I was trying to cheat it. People, don't cheat it. It never works out. Alright, so this is when I actually decided to use my brain. Why did I leave the little goof up in? Thought it was funny. So as you can see here, I'm just pressure fitting it in. There's already a screw in place, so as soon as the C-clamp's in place, I can just screw everything in together. And you saw quickly I checked over on the other side to make sure. And this is me putting in the cross braces. Now, because I had such a tight fit, I literally can measure. I put a couple pencil lines in, and I just put it in place. If you're wondering why it's flat, it's because I didn't want to have to cut a piece on the table saw, and if I put it flush, it would be too big for the melamine. And this is me putting the melamine in place. Now, if my measurements were right, and luckily they were, it just kind of dropped right into place. And yeah, that was, I actually did have to hammer, rubber hammer it a little bit in, because sometimes when you cut it a little, I should have maybe cut it a little 16th below, but I liked it. It works, and I now have a nice little tabletop. Last thing I forgot to do was put a brace on the bottom. Eventually I'll put some shelves and stuff in here, but just for now, I just wanted to get everything in place so I could grip it around, and so this table was completely stable. And as you can see, super simple design. Well, there you go. Here is a awesome movable workbench. Well, it looks like these two guys want to go play, so we're gonna wrap this up a little quick. If you like this content, why don't you hit the subscribe button? If you like this video, hit the like button. It really helps us out with the algorithm. If you have any project ideas, throw it in the comments below. And well, how about this? Until next time, this is Matt from The Random Maker saying, let's get making.